Sharon Bovat, Nissan turned DOD whistleblower. Now I want today to show you, yesterday I did a 5-part series about why Nissan bullied me and they outed me as a former researcher for CIA operatives. And today I'm going to explain to you what happened and how I got the nickname DOD whistleblower. I mentioned that Nissan car parts, Nissan does business with Iran. They are now in a partnership with Autovance, which is Putin's car company. Autovance has strong connections to the Russian mafia. American CIA, which a lot of people at Nissan, 10%, I was told that 10% of the people that work at Nissan North America are spies. Now, not American spies, but Japanese spies, French spies, and some American spies that are aligned with them. You see, we have cover companies. I mean, I am in a unique position because I never signed a non-disclose. I didn't do that. I was third generation. My grandfather was naval intelligence, and he's the grandfather that I told you that knew John McCone, and he belonged to the same country club as John McCone, Leon Panetta, Super Spook Country Club. Bill Casey's former chief of staff, personal assistant, is now in charge of membership. So I was well connected, and I had a clean passport. So what people used me, and this was in the 80s, 90s. I would go and I'd be a house guest. I would be you know, a friendly fixture. I would just go and hang out, and I would come back and people would ask me oodles of questions, like gazillions of questions. Who did you eat with? Who were they eating with? Who did you go out to drinks with? Who did you see? Did you see anybody at the embassy at another table? Well, you see, there's CIA, State Department, and there's State Department, State Department. And I mean, I traveled all over. I was in Leningrad, which is the Soviet Union. I was in Honduras. I went to Kuwait. I went to Bahrain. I went a lot of places, and you know, back then we didn't have Google, so nobody knew what I looked like, and I changed my hair color for one because they thought Middle Eastern people would be more attracted to a redhead, and which is funny. I mean, because I thought Middle Eastern men were like totally like normal, and you know, like they had their wife or their 3 or 4 wives and were loyal to them. But you know, once they got to Bahrain, woohoo! No, they were kind of scary. And there was this one party. I was in Bahrain, and it was during the transition from Bush to Clinton, and I was at a New Year's Eve party, and I was seated next to a guy from Riyadh, and he was related to like the prince or the royal family of Saudi, and he owned all the hospitals, and he wanted to have sex with me. Now, I knew this dude had wives, and I was like, oh, and I'm not going to have sex with him because I don't sleep with foreign-born nationals. And I mean, I pretty much, you know, I'm like, okay, I was drinking, and I did make a comment, and State Department person thought I was like uber, like rude to the Saudi dude. I told him, I said, well, just because you paid for the war doesn't mean that you paid for me. Yeah. I told him that because I wasn't going to have sex with him. And the Lebanese dude that was hosting it was this Lebanese journalist that had like a big house with like 4 servants. He wasn't a Lebanese journalist. He was somebody actually connected to Carlos Ghosn. And he was really big with the Lockerbie cover-up and all the hostage negotiations and all that shit. And, you know, they had to do the cleanup between cover-ups. Well, okay, so basically, I guess the guys, I mean, I'm learning this now, that the guys that were on Lockerbie, the whistleblowers, these were people that were going from the Reagan to the Bush administration. These guys were going to rat out some people, I guess, from Beirut or whatever for the drug trade. Because some people didn't think the CIA doing drugs was like a good thing. I mean, they just could not comprehend in their brains that, you know, the CIA did the drugs to prevent the mafia from doing the drugs. Okay, so there was logic. Okay, so these guys were going to rat out some people in Beirut, and they were put on Pan Am 103. Now, I'm not saying that it's a big conspiracy. I'm just saying that the Iranian National Guard paid these people to do it, and the people that they paid knew who they wanted to be offed. So it was really easy because they made sure that they were on the plane. So it's not like an American government conspiracy. It was like a conspiracy with the people that did the drugs, because they didn't want their operation to be compromised, and they knew they had to do the eye for the eye because we gave medals and congratulatories to the guys that shot down the Iranian civil aircraft. There was an Iranian civil aircraft Iran Air Flight 655 that was shot down on July 3rd, 1988. And it turns out, I found this from my mom in her packet, that it was then in late July that I then started doing the transition from being a Reagan secret spy for the First Lady. I'm a spy to the First Lady, because people at the CIA, they want to say, oh, she was one of our trained people during the Reagan era. No, I'm a spy to Nancy Reagan. But Bush operatives then started working directly with me in July 1988. So it was July 1988, and then I got to go to the Republican convention in July 88, and I became a Republican, and I actually got my Republican my mom left me everything. It's just crazy. And then, so I became a Republican, went to the, and then there's me, I have the video of me saying the Pledge of Allegiance, and I was saying the pledge because people wanted to make sure I'd be loyal to Bush. So I was transferred from being a Reagan operative to a Bush operative in July. And then the first time, or the second time, this is funny. Really wacko. Okay, so I interacted with Oliver North twice, and I got pictures for the second time. And I thought the second time was after the Lockerbie bombing, because he really laid into me. But I got the pictures back, because I got all these pictures, and on the back it had a timestamp, and it said October 88. And see, the first time I met him was like in it was 85 or 86. And I mean, I did tell him that I did not think the Iran thing was a good idea, but then it was after they had already decided to do it, and the guy like gave me this total lecture on like loyalty. But the second time that I interacted with him, it was like after the Iran-Contra stuff, but it was before the bombing. And that's what really freaks me out. It's like, in my head, I had always remembered that second thing. So then I thought, well, my second thing must have been my first thing, and then because then I got pictures, and no, I was the first one. And this is where memories aren't good, because I've been trying to put together a timeline, and I put together a timeline, and I'll share that on my website. But it looks as if my second time, where Oliver North gave me the lecture on loyalty to my country and to who I work for, I got it in October 88, and the Lockerbie crash. So I suspect they knew that there was going to be the eye for the eye happening, and I was told that Moscow they released, okay, so the Russians knew, and, okay, so I was asked then in 93, I'm starting to get panicked, okay, so in 93 I was asked to go to Georgia, and I didn't go to Georgia because when I was in Leningrad they detained me, I went after the Malta deal, and it was in the Malta deal where Condoleezza Rice was at. Condoleezza Rice was at Malta, and everybody was at Malta, and I think that's where they decided to let the bomb start at Malta, but see, there was no way, because, I mean, okay, I was sent by Pan Am before Lockerbie to this special training to detect suitcases that could have bombs. It was at San Francisco, I think it was at a Marriott hotel. CC led it. My cousin was in the class. It was all these kids of relatives of people that were big at Pan Am, and they did a special training to teach us like how to put people on, change people's flights in the computer system and look for bombs, and it was this bizarre training. So I did work for Pan Am kind of temporarily. They did it under the auspice of a potential strike, and so then they said we're going to hire some people, but then they hired, it was all nepotism, but it was all CIA. So everybody connected to the CIA, their kids then were kind of sucked into the Pan Am thing. It's hard to talk about this, and so yeah, and so that was, okay, so July 88, Iran air shot down. August, I think, is when I said the pledge with George H. Bush. Oliver North, October 88. my family did this bizarre family reunion. My grandfather wanted everybody in the same room, and this was in December, and he wanted everybody accounted for, and this was in December, like 20th, and I think my cousin Carol wasn't there, and she's a flight attendant with Pan Am, and then we had to verify where she was, and my grandfather had like a sheet, and he made sure everybody that he knew was accounted for. And we had turkey, and we always only had turkey in our family on Thanksgiving and Christmas only. My mother did not cook. It was a big deal for anybody to cook, and we had cranberry and turkey on the 20th. And we were all together the next day, and we were having like breakfast and hanging out, and it was late in the morning, and my uncle got the call. This is in Pebble Beach, about Pan Am Flight 103 going down. And the first time in my life I saw my uncle Bill Frisbee, chief pilot of Pan Am, cry was when he heard about these bucket seats going to these kids, and he learned about the kids from Syracuse. And he asked about the crew, and he then left with my grandfather, and our mandatory family reunion was over, and my family hasn't been the same. And I knew it was Iran that ordered it as retaliation, and I knew I believed it was Lebanese because I met the Lebanese dude, but it was Syrian and Lebanese, and we were going to go to war with, what was it? Oh yeah, they knew that invasion of Kuwait was happening. We needed a good war, we needed a quick war, because we were worried about the defense spending, because Clinton had cut back, I believe, was it not Clinton? Who was it? No, it was Reagan. Peace through strength. They were worried because people didn't think we needed weapons because we hadn't been at war, so we needed a quickie war. That's what it was.